To commemorate the 125th anniversary of AIA New Jersey, the AIA New Jersey Historical Archives Committee is presenting webinars throughout 2025 to document the history of each component of the organization. Today, we begin with AIA Architects League of Northern New Jersey. The Architects League has over 600 members in its section, which covers the counties of Bergen, Hudson, Passaic, and Sussex counties. It is certain we are now upon the threshold of a great development and growth of this territory, the major part of which will consist of construction work, the size and character which is definitely coming within the scope of the architect. Therefore, I am now writing to ascertain if you would be interested in attending a meeting for the purpose of discussing and considering some form of organization by the architects in this vicinity, as may be planned, and holding future meetings, therefore, as may be decided. So read the March 23, 1928 letter of Harry Lucht of Lucht and Anderson Architects in Cliffside Park, sent to 100 architects in the northern New Jersey region. On April 12, 1928, interested architects gathered for a meeting at the Palm Gardens in Teaneck, and thus the Architects League of Northern New Jersey was born. The impetus for the great development and growth, of course, was the George Washington Bridge, for which construction had begun in October 1927. The bridge opened to traffic in 1931, forever changing the landscape of Bergen County and areas northwest. In addition to Lucht, Clarence Tabor, H.G. Anderson, A.L. Vegliante, and others founded the League with 18 members. In November of 1928, the organization was officially incorporated. By April 1929, membership had grown to 39. The annual dinner in 1930 made the pages of Pencil Points, a national magazine for architects and allied professionals. In the early days, Architects League promotional materials consisted of either blue line prints or blueprints, often spiced with a bit of humor. For the 1931 annual dinner, the evening's menu was prepared in the form of a whimsical construction specification. In 1931, the Architects League endorsed the Bergen County Chamber of Commerce initiative to promote the design of better buildings for roadside markets. Such markets were springing up along the new highways that were constructed to link the area with the George Washington Bridge in New York City. By 1932, the League was well established, and membership growth necessitated the creation of a monthly newsletter. Clarence Tabor, a charter member of the League, thus established Quid Nunc, Latin for what now. The monthly newsletter was originally issued in an 8.5 by 11 format, but transformed into a folded 4-page pamphlet, supplemented with Tabor's whimsical, witty words and sketches. The League also took up causes of national prominence. In May 1929, the Architects League had begun a formal protest of AIA's endorsement of the Architects Small House Service Bureau with a lengthy article in Pencil Points that garnered reaction from around the country. By 1932, the AIA withdrew its endorsement, and the League celebrated with a ceremonial burning of stock plans. By 1935, the Great Depression was in full force, with several references in the Architects League archives to bank failures and foreclosures. It was decided the League would no longer offer meals during the regular meetings. Supper could be had at an earlier hour by those who wished to have it, at a cost of 50 cents and up. The New Jersey Architectural Board requested recommendations from the League with regard to unemployment relief, and an Architects Emergency Committee was established. Harry Lucht, who obtained work with the Treasury Department in Washington, wrote in a letter to Clarence Tabor, "A job for everybody, so saith the sage Franklin D. And yesterday hundreds of us received notices that our services were no longer required. When we went home last Sunday, there was a sign on the Cliffside Park title door, 'Closed.' and we had some money of ours there. The advent of World War II in 1941 raised concerns among League members regarding the future of the profession. Meeting minutes reflect discussions on problems facing the architectural profession due to the war and the serious effects which may result upon its conclusion. The tendency of government agencies and bureaus to expand with dire results upon the architectural field. It is agreed that a strong, unified national organization is necessary to cope with the problem. With regard to the war effort, it was the consensus that architects could best serve for civilian defense as individual workers in their local communities, but should tender their services and skills to the state and the nation in any way they may be called upon. As the war concluded, the League's focus remained the defense of architecture. The Navy Department's proposal to raise historic buildings at St. John's College to create a football field was decried as an uncultured act of vandalism aesthetically and spiritually. After the war, the League passed a resolution calling for the federal government to remove wartime controls and restrictions on building. The Architects League also called on local freeholders to consider New Jersey architects for county projects that had been awarded to New York firms. Due to the post-war building boom, the 1950s began on a high note. As Tabor put it, this territory constitutes one of the richest areas of building activity in the United States, particularly in homes and garden apartments and the industry and business thereby created. The Architects League focused on raising the public profile of architects through the regular publication of the Bulletin, which was partially supported by ad revenue. The League had not had a regular newsletter since Tabor's Quid Nunc in the 1930s. The League also prepared ads and articles for publication in the Bergen Evening Record. In 1954, discussion began regarding the sponsoring of a scholarship in architecture. Miss Joan DeReese, a Columbia University student from Englewood, was awarded the League's first scholarship in 1955. By 1956, the Bulletin was turning a profit, and the decision was made to increase circulation to architects throughout the entire state. The new publication, complete with dazzling color covers, debuted in September 1957 as Jersey Architect. The November 1957 edition of Jersey Architect included a feature on Frank Lloyd Wright, complete with first-hand accounts of his visit to the Architects Display Center in Mountainside. When he strode into the crowded assembly room, the audience, comprising approximately 400 architects and their guests, rose as one and applauded. He accepted this applause graciously, as man does when he is accustomed to frequent acclamation. He doffed his broad-brimmed Western-style hat, removed his cloak-like coat, and handed hat, coat, and cane to one of the members of the reception committee. While being introduced, he took a flower from the bouquet on the table and examined it carefully. He removed the petals slowly and studied the interior, almost like a curious child who was seeing a flower for the first time. The League publication professionally covered statewide architectural news, including the hijinks that ensued at the annual conventions in Asbury Park. The magazine also covered prominent architects in the state, such as Eleanor Patterson, who apprenticed under Wright and led the first woman-owned architecture firm in New Jersey. The publication continued into 1964, when it was then continued by the New Jersey Society of Architects as New Jersey Architecture. In 1958, under the direction of Albert Halsey, the League sponsored adult education courses in Ridgewood, the technical training for the junior draftsman, and the informational, what a layman should know. The League's efforts to promote the profession culminated in 1960's Beautiful Bergen, a traveling exhibit which showcased noteworthy examples of local architecture. The exhibit received national publicity. Throughout the 1960s, the Architects League maintained a strong presence at the annual conventions of the New Jersey Society of Architects. Featured here are photos from the 1960 event with Architects League President Merrill Martin in attendance. In the 1960s, the League looked for innovative ways to build membership and meeting attendance. An open forum was held in 1962 on various topics, such as the writing of specifications and filing liens. Harry Lucht hosted a meeting at his historic brownstone in Wyckoff. Member Bernard DePaula hosted a Hawaiian luau, pictured here, at his lakeside home in Oakland. On the legislative front, the League worked to oppose bills in the state Senate regarding the use of stock plans for school construction. The minutes also reflect heated discussion regarding a Tenafly design ordinance that had recently passed. For decades, the New Jersey chapter of AIA and the New Jersey Society of Architects operated alongside each other as two separate organizations. 1964 brought renewed discussion of unifying the society with AIA, and in 1965 the merger took place. Finally, the distinct chapters within the state society were officially affiliated with AIA. Prior to the merger, AIA New Jersey existed solely as a state chapter with no sections. Architects League member Arthur Rigoleau was recognized for his efforts regarding the merger when he received the Vegliante Award. But perhaps the biggest change for the League came later in the decade. Faced with dwindling membership and a lack of volunteers for its committees, the Hudson County chapter of the New Jersey Society of Architects began investigating consolidation options with neighboring sections. At the time, the Architects League was the largest of the 8 AIA sections in New Jersey. There are 6 sections today, with 116 members. The Hudson County chapter had 28 members. Negotiations with the Architects League began in 1969, and by the end of that year, the merger of the two sections was approved. Although names such as the Architects Confederation and North Jersey chapter were proposed for the consolidated group, the name Architects League of Northern New Jersey remained. The 1970s saw a robust focus on education of the architect as well as educational outreach to the public at large. A technical training committee was formed, and the League sponsored 2 public education courses, with the first classes taking place at Dumont High School. The League also established a speakers bureau, with members volunteering to speak at various schools and civic organizations. In 1977, the Architects League was honored to have the state's annual convention held within its territory at the Playboy Club in Vernon, nestled in the hills of Sussex County. Over 1,200 architects attended. Throughout the 1980s, the Architects League continued to build on past traditions. A new traveling exhibit was developed with boards describing the history of architecture, the history of the League, and professional services. The League also created the Careers in Architecture program, which included a tour of the NJIT School of Architecture and seminars on drafting and design. With the increasing use of computers in the workplace, a computer users group was established. Throughout its existence, the territory of the Architects League was somewhat fluid. In the mid-1980s, its boundaries extended beyond the lines of its current territory and included some communities within Morris and Essex counties. The current boundaries, strictly following county lines, went into effect in the 1990s. The growth of computer use in the 1990s brought profound changes to the profession and society. When an article in a local paper implied that CAD gave average homeowners an ability to design complete structures, the League offered a rebuttal. Drawings are only one part of the services an architect provides for a client, wrote Architects League President Peter Pagani. CAD no more makes a homeowner into a competent designer than a video flight simulator makes him a fighter pilot. As the turn of the century approached, the Architects League of Northern New Jersey established its presence on the World Wide Web. When Jersey Architect ceased publication in the 1960s, the League newsletter took various forms, and at times revived the names The Bulletin and Quid Nunc. Eventually the newsletter was named Leagueline and continued as a monthly publication into the 2000s. Composing, typing, printing, and mailing the newsletter on a monthly basis was an arduous task, and the increased use of email was quickly making the format obsolete. In 2003, the monthly Leagueline was revamped to become a quarterly publication. The new format allowed the time to develop in-depth news articles on relevant architectural issues, which could then be professionally designed and printed in color and with photographs. AIA National took notice. In July 2005, AIA National Best Practices cited the Leagueline as a model for state and local components for the creation of successful newsletters. The first issue of the quarterly Leagueline marked the passing of groundbreaking member Eleanor Pedersen. In 2004, AIA New Jersey created the Michael Graves Lifetime Achievement Award. Martin Santini of the Architects League and Bob Cosarelli of Newark and Suburban personally met with Graves to request that he design the award, and he agreed. The award is the highest and most prestigious honor that AIA New Jersey can bestow upon an individual. In 2006, Architects League members had the privilege of modeling jewelry from the Frank Gehry collection at Tiffany's in Riverside Square. The League continued its annual golf outing, and its members supported the AIA National Convention in Los Angeles. Into the 20-teens, the League maintained robust participation in local, regional, and national events, including the annual Lego Night at the Hasbrook Heights Library, a tour of the New School in New York City, and the Grassroots Leadership Convention in Washington, D.C. After pausing due to the COVID pandemic, League activities resumed into the 2020s with historical tours throughout its territory, including the Radburn community in Fairlawn and the Patterson landmarks Hinchliffe Stadium and Lambert Castle. In 2025, the League, in conjunction with AIA Newark and Suburban, will host the 35th Annual Trade Show, which provides several educational seminars and puts members face-to-face with vendors offering the latest information on building materials and technology. The Architects League remains steadfast in fostering future professionals through its scholarship programs, supported largely through annual fundraising events. The annual golf outing, which started in 1999, has since evolved into the mini golf outing in 2023 and a bowling event in 2024. The Architects League awarded its first academic scholarship on May 19, 1955, to Miss Joan DeRees of Englewood, a student at Columbia University School of Architecture. Since that time, the League has developed a scholarship program that includes the Clarence Tabor Memorial Scholarship Award, the Albert O. Halsey Memorial Award, the Architects League Scholastic Achievement Award, and the Architects League Scholarship for High School Seniors. In addition to our memorial scholarships, the Architects League has legacy programs to honor some of our members who have passed. Ted Kessler was a longtime Architects League member who is remembered for his generosity to the profession. He was well known for leading architectural students and others on walking tours throughout Manhattan. The Ted Kessler Walking Tour, led by Joe David, remains a tribute to Kessler's memory and legacy, with new tours premiering in the fall and then repeating the following spring. Each November, the League honors the memory of past President Arthur Davis through the Arthur L. Davis Lecture Series. The series features a speaker or topic of notable importance in the profession. Davis was a man of great humor and a great lover of all things cultural. Following Arthur's passing in 2000, his wife Lenore, until her death in 2012, provided annual donations to the League to support the lecture series. Since that time, the League has honored the Davis legacy by continuing this event. Since 1933, the League has presented the Anton L. Vegliante Award, its highest honor, to members who distinguish themselves for their contribution to the advancement of the profession. Anton Vegliante came to this country from Italy and started his career as a painting contractor. He taught himself English and became an architect. He served as vice president of the Architects League from 1928 to 1931, when he died at the age of 47. Upon his death in 1931, his will stipulated that a bequest be made to the League, to be held in trust, and that the annual interest income from the trust account would be used to make an award to a member exhibiting extraordinary service to the League and to the profession. Mr. Vegliante's strive for excellence remains our inspiration in the years since his passing. Currently, the Architects League is the proud administrator of the Diane and Ben Lee Design Education Fund. The privately funded program provides annual grants of up to $2,500 to schools, teachers, groups, or individuals actively pursuing design curriculum in their school or educational entity that directly benefits New Jersey K-12 students. Design education develops critical problem-solving skills and includes programs related to fields such as art, architecture, interior design, graphic design, product design, set design, fashion design, or illustration. To celebrate the 125th anniversary of AIA New Jersey this year, and in preparation for the League's 100th anniversary in 2028, several longtime members are being interviewed for their thoughts and reflections on their tenure in AIA. To date, we are honored to have the participation of League past presidents Joseph Checco, Martin Santini, and Al Zaccone. This concludes our presentation on the history of the AIA Architects League of Northern New Jersey. Anyone with information, documents, or images to share, please contact the Historical Archives Committee at AIA NJ Historical Archives@gmail.com.